You're doing everything right. You're showing up, working hard, getting those raises, but somehow you're still just scraping by. Well, here's the harsh truth. Data says that your 9 to 5 might never get you into millionaire status. But this isn't just about the paycheck. It's about the system most of us were taught to trust. And once you see how it really works, you'll understand why building real wealth takes a totally different strategy. And there's also a trap that almost every working person falls into, and most don't realize it until it's too late. But more on that here in a minute. So let's start with a question. If you're working full-time and doing everything right, why does it still feel so hard to build real wealth? Well, here's what the numbers say. As of 2025, the median full-time salary in the US is about $62,000 per year, and the average is even lower at about $54,000.
Yeah. And keep in mind that $62,000 in some major cities qualifies as low income for a single person.
Exactly, Tiara. So it really is dependent on your location. Now translate that into a monthly paycheck after taxes, health premiums, and retirement deductions. And most people are bringing home between $3,200 to $4,000 a month. Now that sounds decent until you subtract, rent or a mortgage, groceries, transportation, insurance, and maybe a student loan or credit card bill.
There's the beggar.
Considering those things, it's not hard to see why so many people say that they're living paycheck to paycheck.
The survey found that more than 25% of workers don't set aside any savings each month.
Even if you get raises every year, right? Salary growth has lagged behind inflation for years, meaning that your money just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. And depending on where you live, basic living costs can easily wipe out half or more of what you earn. So while a steady job does give you income stability, promotions and salary raises often happen at about 3 to 5% per year, and that's if things are going well. So even when you're moving up in a company, you're often just barely staying ahead of rising costs. So if full-time jobs aren't launching people into millionaire status like we once believed it might, how can someone make that a reality? Well, let's dive into that here next. So how far can your salary actually take you if your goal is to build wealth? Well, most financial advisors suggest saving around 15% of your pre-tax income for retirement or long-term investing. So let's say that you're making that median $62,000 salary. Saving 15% of that gives you about $9,300 per year, or about $775 per month to save. Not easy to do if you're juggling rent, gas, groceries, student loans, a family, etc. But hypothetically, let's say that you pull it off. Now here's where compounding really comes into play. So if you invest $775 a month for 30 years with an average return of 7%, right, after adjusting for inflation, you'll hit $1 million in total investment value by year 31. But it's not just what you save, it's how early you start. So if you start at 25 years old, then your monthly contribution could grow into 7 figures by the time that you're 56 years old. But if you wait until you're 35 years old to start, you'll need to save about $1,000 a month to reach $1 million by retirement at 65 years old. That's how critical time is, and why playing catch up really gets more expensive the longer that you wait. But here's the next question here. Even at the ideal savings rate, can your job alone actually support your path to a millionaire territory? Well, that's where things get kind of tricky, so let's unpack it. So here's where reality sets in for most of us. So a steady full-time job is great for covering your essentials, but when it comes to building true wealth, there are some big hurdles. And one of the biggest is salary caps. So even if you're at the top of your field, most jobs have limits on pay, and annual raises often just barely edge out inflation or the rising cost of living, which is the trap that I hinted out in the intro of the video. Now the challenge isn't just about how much you make, it's about how much you can actually save and invest after paying for things like your housing, food, transportation, insurance, and all the other demands on your bank account. Even if your income hovers around $60,000 or $70,000 range, it gets harder each year to save enough to really move the needle toward those long-term goals, especially if you have a family that you're supporting. Most people face curveballs too, like layoffs and medical bills or supporting other family, which can force you to pause or dip into your savings. Relying only on your paycheck also means that you're trading hours for dollars with limited flexibility to scale up your income. Real wealth building often comes from adding side hustles, launching small businesses, investing in stocks or real estate, or creating other passive income streams that let your money work for you, even when you're not clocked in. Like this YouTube channel for me that you're on right now. Except this channel makes me $0 and has cost me over $10,000 so far, which is why I have to ask you right now to please subscribe, as I promise to keep publishing good videos but I would really love to stop losing money with this channel. So help me out if you can. Anyway, while a good job is an excellent starting point, hitting those big financial milestones like $1 million in investments, that almost always requires you to work another job or invest heavily to make it possible. Now, if you're wondering what else you can do besides your 9 to 5 to make money, well, I've got something wild that I've done. So I gave $5,000 of cold hard cash to AI and told it to invest for me. And so far, it's been a really crazy experience. Now, if you're curious how that's turned out, go ahead and click right up here to see my most recent update about the project. And I bet that you'll be completely shocked by what you see.